Hello, everyone. This is Amrita here, your habit and health coach, and I have a very interesting and a wonderful guest with us today from my community to yours. Before I, oh my God, what happened? Oh, nothing happened. I was like, the screen blanked out. Like, what happened there? Okay, so before I get on to giving Vandana the mic to speak, I just want to say that we have known each other for so many years. We have been dance partners, we have been work buddies, we have done stage shows together, we've been like partners in crime and whatnot. We have been with each other for so many years, but we've also been away from each other, but we still maintained our connection and things like that. And I love her because she is one person that I feel is like the guru of consistency in terms of like your routines and maintaining habits and things. So that's why I wanted to bring her to our community so that we could learn a lot from her. So Vandana, please introduce yourself to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amrita, for having me today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this and, speaking to your audience and to mine, and hopefully we can inspire some souls here. So just to get started, my name is Vandana, and I'm based out in Dubai, UAE. I started off as a molecular scientist, and that's where I worked with Amrita for a few years in Dubai. And then I ventured out into client relations and into a more client-facing role. I currently work as a team lead in account management, or client relations, basically in a hyper growth, I would say, hyper growth insurtech industry called Bezat. And obviously, it is quite stressful role. But apart from my day hustle, I love dancing. I'm quite passionate about fitness and just healthy lifestyle. So I'm also a certified group fitness instructor for the last 1 year. So I do a lot of freelance fitness sessions in the weekends or just when I'm free. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome, beautiful. Awesome. I really love that. So, everyone here, I think people from your community know that you keep posting about, the fitness routines that you've been doing, like especially early in the morning. So, let's just discuss about or tell us, share with us, what is your morning routine so that the people who don't know get to learn about
Sure, sure. So I think most of them who follow me, I think kind of know that I'm quite an early person, or it's something that I've built over the years, I think. So I'm usually up around 4:45, 5 o'clock. I have a glass of water, get out of bed. Not every day is the same. It's not that every day I'm like pumped or charged to get out of bed, but yeah, most of the days I am out by 5:15 max. I then hit the gym for around 35 to 45 minutes in the morning, usually doing strength training. I love strength training, so I do a lot of strength training over the week. Um, Once I'm back, then I do a little bit of journaling and meditation. I think that's something that I've incorporated very recently, I think, but it's been really, really helpful. Um, and then I get going, like, I shower up. I usually like to hit work early. Although we start at 9, I'm usually in by around 8:15, 8:30. So I shower up and then I have my prayer routine, or like, again, like 20 minutes I spend just doing some meditation and mantra meditation and stuff. And then, yeah, I hit work, and then obviously I have quite a busy, packed day. That's like usually 8:30 to 6:30. I'm at work, and then I'm back home, and yeah, and then get going with the day.
it. Nice, awesome. So that's a lot of things that you do in the morning. So, how do you stay consistent with doing these? Like, you know, consistency, the secret to your consistency.
So, what really helped is obviously I'd not, this has not been my routine all throughout my life. Just like everyone else, I had a very usual routine, wake up probably 45 minutes to 1 hour just before leaving work. But I think over the years, I really worked on it. I wanted to bring about that change, and I've seen, I mean, I read quite a bit about how, waking up early or having a proper routine or discipline actually helps with just getting your life in order, I guess. So yeah, just having that shift in my mindset really helped in staying consistent. I think some stuff that really helped was making sure, like having a plan for the day or like planning beforehand of the previous night. I always plan what I'm going to do in the morning, at least until I got my routine in place. So I would plan what I'm going to work out, what I'm going to wear, uh, you know, even simple things like just meditating. I would actually choose and shortlist what's the music I'm going to meditate on the next day, or so small things like that. I would literally like plan, and something that really helped for me, or what works for me, is just actually having a list, like a to-do list, and ticking them off. So I mean, initially when I was trying to get my habits in place, or consistency in place, I would literally have it out for the entire week, and then I would tick off, like, the days that I've done it, and then I would evaluate at the end of the week, how many days did I actually do what I planned to do. So that kind of helped me reflect, what I was doing during the week, and how consistent have I been. And obviously that was kind of a motivation for me. So out of 5 to 6 working days, I would actually, if I managed to stay consistent at least for 3 or 4 days, I would feel really happy about it, or I'd be proud that, okay, yes, I did manage to get through what I've done. And eventually I kept doing it until I got really consistent, like, until it became like a part of me. And now it's just a part of me, and I cannot, I mean, days that I don't do it, I really feel I don't really feel good. Like, I would be anxious throughout the day, or, I'll just be irritated and stuff. So every day when or on days when I feel that, when I'm lazy to get out of bed, or when I'm really not in the mood to get out of bed, I just remind myself how I would feel if I stick to what I do. And that kind of motivates me or helps me stay consistent, I would say.
Awesome. So it sounds to me that you tried certain stuff and then you were tracking yourself. And then now eventually it's become your routine. Or it's already become a habit. Like now this morning routine cannot be taken out of you because it's now a habit, right? And for the
Yeah.
listeners, I was just taking down some notes. For the listeners, I just want you to remember, like from what Vandana said, like the secret to her consistency is her why, right? Like she really wanted her life to be in order and she really wanted to do it. She wanted that shift in her mindset. And how she does it is that she plans ahead of time. She has a to-do list. She knows exactly what meditation, what music, what routine she's going to work. So that is the day before, or maybe a few days before. And how she got into the consistency, she kept tracking herself to see how she performed. Like over 7 days, she did like 6 days or 5 days, and she reflected on it. And then that kept her motivated to keep doing it. And I guess that's the secret to everyone's consistency, like how other people also get consistency in their routine, even mine, right? It's not like we're doing something for 365 days, but it's
Yeah.
about doing it like every few days for like maybe 365 years. That is consistency. I know we're not going to live for 365 years, but that's just a way of saying it, right? Figure of speech,
Thanks,
etc.
Samu. You actually put that out pretty well. You outlined it quite well.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so then after the next question that I have is I'm just curious to know when you go on a vacation or say if you're taking a break from I don't know work or something like that, right? And or you have a party late night and you slept like at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. because you were just out and hanging out with people. Do you still then follow through with your morning routine and how do you do it?
So if I've ever been like partying, or stayed up quite late, I don't necessarily start my day at 5. Um, Depends. If it's the weekend, I'm not up at 5. Probably I'm up a few hours later, like an hour or two. Um, but I try to still stick to the routine, or I have a different routine on my weekend, but I still make sure I have a routine. Like, it's not like I'm just simply faffing around. So I still kind of try and have a routine, like, again, I plan ahead. If I'm going to my parents' place, I'll say like, okay, this Saturday I'm going to go to my parents' place, or like this Saturday I'm going to meet up with friends, and make sure like my mornings again, I'm still being a little productive. I'll do something like, probably reading. I just like that me time in the morning, and especially on a weekend. I know it's quiet outside, everyone is probably sleeping, so I just like that feeling of being productive in the morning, or being up
Right.
before everyone is up.
Yeah.
So I still try and stick to it. Again, I'm not up working out in the morning. I'm not um, running in the morning. That's not what I do, but I still have a routine. Like, I might probably be studying or reading, but I'll have something that I've planned. If I'm on a vacation, not really, because I don't really follow a specific routine, because I would have something planned, as part of the itinerary, probably
Right.
as part of the travel, right? So I don't really follow a specific pattern during my travels. But I still try. I'm still usually up early, I would say.
Nice. Okay. So then it sounds to me that like obviously when you are like having late nights or when you're on travel, you do modify your morning routine, but again your morning time is your like me time or your self-care time. So you kind of take maybe like from out of the five different things you do, you take like one or two things and you still do your morning routine, but you just do it like in a modified way. It might not be very long, but you keep it short so that you have that me time and that space to like reflect and collect yourself so that you're like charged and powered for the rest of the day. Would that be
That's
right?
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
that's
Great. Cool. So I then have a question is how did you know that this is the recipe that works for you, right? Because you said different things that you do like meditation, prayer, workout, journaling. So how did you know that this is your way of making your morning very productive?
So I think I was quite inspired by a book that I read by Robin Sharma. It's called The 5 a.m. Club. I think a
Yes.
lot of people would have heard about the book.
Yeah.
So one of my, I would say, a good mentor of mine from work had recommended the book. I was in a phase where I was trying to get productive, just kind of get my life in a better place. And I think he had recommended the book. I was trying to improve my productivity, I would say, particularly. And I actually read the book. I was super inspired by his techniques, or like the method that he laid out. Waking up at 5 and having this. He calls it the 20-20-20 rule, like spending 20 minutes of the hour for specific things. So I tried that first. It didn't really work for me. Because there were certain things like workout. I really enjoyed working out, and I didn't want to restrict it to 20 minutes, right? Or I wasn't someone who can meditate for 20 minutes. So I couldn't really do that. So I modified that. I did a lot of trial and error, figuring out what works for me, what works for me in the morning. And initially I tried bringing in too many changes at a time, and obviously I failed because I was trying to work out in the morning, meditate in the morning, journal in the morning. Didn't work out, failed. I did like maybe one out of the five things that I had planned to do. And I learned from that process that, and again, like, I was reading a lot of self-care and self-help books, and I figured that instead of instead of trying to do like five things or trying to change five habits at a time, focus on one or two things at a time. So that really helped. So I started just incorporating one or two changes, mastering that, making sure that's kind of fixed in. Yeah, I mean, that trial and error worked for me quite a bit. Again, I learned a lot from failure, and stuff like that. And I think it didn't happen overnight. It took me a good 6 to 12 months to actually get to what I was doing at that point. And after that, like, even a few things that I do now, like, maybe meditation is something that I probably started just like maybe 2, 3 months ago, but I wasn't doing it very consistently, and I was not doing it regularly. But now I've reached a point that, whatever happens, even if I'm late, even if I'm going to be like a few minutes late to my next task, or like, getting to work, I would still make sure I do it. So that would, I mean, just to make sure that I'm actually fixing that into the schedule. But yeah, I mean, a lot of trial and error, a lot of failure, and but just making sure that I still stuck through all of it. Because a
Right.
lot of people, what happen is they kind of give up midway, like when they realize that it's not working out, or like, they get frustrated and they kind of give up. So just my message is that, don't give up. Just tweak it and see what works for you, and then get going.
Right. So for you people listening, she just dropped in some gems of another secret to the consistency, right? It's not, it's something that takes time. Like for her, it took like 6 to 12 months. So for you also, it could take very long for that consistency to come. And the other thing is, first of all, is be patient. The second thing is learn from your failures, right? Failures are not something bad. It's, you should look at it as a lesson learned, right? As something that you just
Yeah.
like yeah, basically a lesson learned on how not to do something and how you could tweak it and work in a different way. And the third thing is, she curated a routine that worked for her. So you might come up with like books and different kind of talks and speeches like do this and do that. That's the best morning routine. But yeah, that works for that person. You need to find out what works for you. And it's a lot
Works
of
for you.
trial. Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error. So it will take 6 or 12 months. But once you get that, once you curate it for yourself, it's for life. And you're just going to they keep doing it because like how Vandana says, and how even I totally agree. Like I have a morning routine that I've curated and I love it. And even I try to do it even when I'm on vacation, when I go for trips, even if I can't do it for like an hour, I make a very short version of it, but I want to
Yeah.
do it because that makes me feel really good and it gives me that
Good.
energy, and it makes me like bulletproof kind of a thing, right? So that's the
Just
other
makes you
secret.
accomplished in the morning.
Yeah,
Right?
the
I
sense
mean,
of
not in the
accomplished.
morning, it can be any time. Whenever you
Yeah,
whenever you're trying to have a routine, or whichever time
exactly.
of the day it is, just getting through that will make you feel like, oh, you've achieved something or you've accomplished something.
Exactly. So that is the other secret to consistency, right? All right. So I think we are almost nearing to the end. And before we leave, I just want to ask you, do you have a message to our community that you would like to share?
I think just going by what I've said earlier. I mean, um, just be ready to fail and learn from that, and like don't fear that failure. I think a lot of us, even before we get started, our initial tendency is to think, oh, what will happen, if I don't get through this, or like what if I fail. Like we're never taught how to deal with failure. So I think that was, I mean, at least personally for me, one of the biggest blockage that I had was fearing failure. But once I kind of got out of that, that really, really helped me take the risk, take the next step, or just help me, like, move ahead. That's one, definitely. And then for anyone who's, and not just about routine, but anyone who's trying to grow, think from a space of, have a growth mindset or a growth mentality versus just trying to, take each day as it goes. I mean, that really will help you kind of progress and look at growth from a progress point of view. Um, and then, yeah, I think just building resilience, like, again, as you fail, just building that resilience from within to take that step to move forward, to get up and keep going. I think yeah, I would say that's like I think that's something that's helped me progress or be where I am.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. That's such a wonderful message to all of us. And I think I just got the next topic that we could talk about, which is blocks and fear of failures and things like that for the next time. Thank you all so much, whoever has tuned in and who's listened to the whole thing. Lots of hugs and kisses. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for supporting us. And even if you didn't listen to the whole thing and you're listening to a part of it, I'm sure you're going to walk away with a lot of wonderful, great messages that you could use in your life as well. So that's it. Take care, everyone. Bye. See
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much,
Thank,
Amu.
thank you. And
Bye.
thank you all for supporting us. Thank you so much.